There's a circle most people never see, not because it's hidden, but because it's everywhere. It begins where you were born, not in a hospital, not in a bed, but in the silence that came before your first cry. The same silence that will remain after your last breath fades. Men spend their whole lives trying to draw straight lines. Plans, goals, futures, names carved in metal or in code. But life always curves. It bends gently, like smoke returning to the air. You chase one horizon and find yourself at the beginning again. That's the strange mercy of existence. It doesn't move forward. It circles. You love. You lose. You learn. You forget. You forgive. You return. And we name is only a curve, a soft bend in something endless. Sometimes, late at night, when the rain hums on the window, you feel that curve breathing behind you, the people you lost, the faces you forgot, the selves you used to be. They all come back, not as ghosts, but as gentle reminders. You never really left. Every version of you still sits somewhere in that circle, still waiting for you to turn around and see him again. You see, the mind wants progress, but the soul wants rhythm. And rhythm is always circular, like breathing, like seasons, like love. A man grows old not because time passes, but because he forgets how to turn with the circle. He stands still while everything keeps moving, and the stillness hurts. But when he remembers, when he surrenders to the bend of it all, the years stop pressing on him. He sees that age isn't a wall. It's just another turn. We're taught to chase beginnings and fear endings, but both belong to the same breath. To inhale is to prepare to let go. To exhale is to trust that life returns. There's no tragedy in the circle, only misunderstanding, only the mind's insistence that we must arrive. But what if there is no arrival? What if everything that feels final is just the soul's way of pausing before it begins again? When I was young, I thought life was a path, that one day I'd reach some quiet hill and finally understand everything. Now I know there is no hill, only curves, only returns, only the quiet rhythm of going out and coming home. Every friendship that faded, every love that broke, every dream that slipped away, they didn't vanish. They changed shape. They folded back into the circle. Sometimes I imagine that the soul itself is round, a soft, breathing orb of light, rolling through experience, never breaking, never stopping, only learning how to recognize itself again. And maybe that's all consciousness really is, a remembering, a slow awakening to what we already are, what we've always been. The rain outside the window isn't falling down, it's falling back. Every drop returns to the same ocean it once rose from. You see, even the rain understands. We are that rain. We fall, we scatter, we evaporate, we rise, we fall again, but we never leave the cycle. Maybe that's why true peace feels circular too. It doesn't demand motion. It doesn't demand arrival. It just repeats, softly, endlessly, like a heart that knows it doesn't have to win to keep beating. So when people ask, what is the meaning? I smile, because the question itself is a line, and meaning is a circle. The circle doesn't answer. It returns. It always returns. Somewhere along the way, you realize you met the same soul many times. She had different faces, different voices, different names, but something in her eyes, always the same. A quiet knowing, a recognition without words, as if she had been waiting at every turn, reminding you gently that the circle is never lonely, only unrecognized. We think we fall in love with people, but maybe we're falling into mirrors. Each person you meet, a reflection of something you left unfinished, a fragment of yourself, still wandering, still searching for home. When you love someone deeply, you're not meeting them for the first time. You're remembering. You're remembering the shape of your own longing. You're remembering what it means to see yourself without judgment. And when it ends, when love dissolves into silence and the mirror fades, you don't lose them. You just stop needing the reflection to know who you are. That's what forgiveness really is. Not an act, not a decision, but a recognition that there was never anything to forgive because no one ever truly hurt you. Only life, doing what life does, circling back, teaching through touch, through absence, through time. You can feel that truth sometimes, late at night, when you remember someone you once hated, and suddenly you don't. The anger is gone. The story doesn't matter anymore. You can't even recall why you cared so much. And in that stillness, there's no victory, only peace, because peace never argues. It just waits. It waits for you to stop insisting that life was supposed to be straight. I used to think people come and go, but that's not true. They don't go anywhere. They just change rooms inside your heart. Some stay near the entrance. Some move deeper. But all of them remain within the same house, the house of your becoming. And every room you visit again, you notice you've changed. The light hits differently now. The air feels softer. The pain doesn't echo as it once did, because you're not fighting the circle anymore. You're walking with it. That's when you understand the strange comfort of repetition. How even heartbreak has rhythm. How even loss is music. The universe speaks in patterns, not promises. And the soul listens best in the pauses. Sometimes silence is the only language left between two people, not because they've stopped loving, but because love has gone deeper, beyond words, beyond meaning, beyond need. There's something holy in that stillness, a recognition that even in endings, there is continuation. You start seeing that in everything, the way the ocean keeps returning to the shore, the way old songs sound new again when you're older, the way grief becomes gratitude, when time softens its edges. Everything is part of the same teaching. Every curve leads you home, but home isn't a place. It's a state of surrender. The mind wants to know why. The soul only asks, can you stay? Can you stay even when it hurts, even when it's quiet, even when it's beautiful? Because staying is the only real prayer. To sit in the rain of your own becoming, and not run from it. To let the sound of life, its joy, its sorrow, its rhythm, wash through you. That's how the circle opens. Not by force, but by understanding. And when you finally stop chasing straight lines, something beautiful happens. You start to recognize a pattern. That every person you loved was a teacher. That every pain you carried was a doorway. That every silence was a mirror showing you where you'd stopped listening. The soul doesn't grow by collecting moments. It grows by returning to the same ones and seeing them differently. When you realize this, you stop running. You stop trying to fix everything that breaks. You let the circle do what it was always meant to, complete itself. And maybe that's what wisdom really is. Not knowledge, not control, just a soft awareness that nothing is wasted, that every heartbreak, every reunion, every breath belongs. You start to laugh more, not because things are easier, but because you finally understand the absurd beauty of it all. The way life keeps repeating its own lesson until you smile at it. Forgiveness, peace, loss, return. They all blur into one quiet truth. You can't fall out of the circle. You can forget it. You can resist it. But you can't leave it. Because you are it. There comes a moment when you stop asking what it all means. Not because you found the answer, but because you no longer need one. The fire still burns. The rain still falls. And in that rhythm, you begin to hear something deeper. A silence that doesn't need your understanding to exist. You realize you've spent your life chasing lines. Beginnings, endings, reasons, closure. But life was never written that way. It was drawn. A circle, breathing in and out, without a start, without a finish. Every pain you ever felt, every joy, every loss was just a pulse. A single beat in the body of something eternal. And when you finally stop running, you begin to feel it. The world isn't moving past you. You are moving with it. Every breath, every heartbeat is part of the same turning. There's no rush anymore. No need to fix, to reach, to become. Because here, in this quiet place, you see that everything you were trying to become was already within you, waiting. Peace feels strange at first. It always does. Because it doesn't shout. It doesn't prove itself. It simply is. It's not the peace of achievement, or understanding, or success. It's the peace that arrives. When you stop arguing with what's already true, when the circle stops being a prison and becomes a dance, the fire cracks softly. Outside, the rain has slowed, not ended, just softened. You can hear the rhythm of drops against the window, and you realize it's the same rhythm as your breath. You smile without knowing why. Maybe because you understand, finally, that even sadness was part of love, that even silence was part of the song. All your life you've been trying to separate them. Joy from sorrow, light from dark, beginnings from endings. But they were never separate. They were the same current, just viewed from different shores. You remember faces, voices, touches, some still near, some long gone, and for the first time, you don't cling to them. You let them drift, not away, but through, because now you see, they were never yours to keep. They were passing through you as you passed through them. Each soul, a ripple in the same sea. There's a deep humility in that, to know that you are not the center of the story, but a single shining thread in a tapestry so vast you could never see it all, and yet somehow you belong completely. That's the paradox of peace. It doesn't make you feel powerful. It makes you feel included. Like even your smallest breath has purpose. Even your quietest moment has meaning. You stop fearing time. You stop chasing youth. You stop wishing things could have gone differently. Because you see now, nothing ever truly leaves. It only changes form. The laughter of your childhood still lives in your chest. The faces you lost still move through your dreams. The moments you regret still glow softly in the dark. Not as shame, but as proof that you lived. And that's enough. That's all it ever had to be. You look into the fire, each spark rising, fading, like the souls of 1,000 memories. You feel no sadness, only gratitude. It was never about holding on. It was about learning how to release, without losing, to let life pass through you, without closing your hands, to let love change its shape, without calling it gone. You start to whisper, not to anyone, but to the air itself. I see it now. The circle doesn't end, because it was never meant to. Every time something fades, something else begins. Every silence is followed by a sound, and every sound returns to silence again. You are both. You are the echo and the stillness, the seeker and the found, the question and the answer. When you finally accept that, you stop trying to draw the map. You stop needing to know where you are, because the moment you open your eyes, you realize you've always been home. Peace isn't something you find. It's something you remember. The body remembers it in sleep. The soul remembers it in surrender. And the heart remembers it in silence. The rain outside turns softer still, almost like a lullaby. The fire flickers low, its glow wrapping the room. In a golden quiet, you can feel the weight of your own being, heavy and light at the same time. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to return from. Everything that ever mattered is here. You close your eyes, and the rain becomes a sound of breath, the sound of the world breathing with you. You realize you're not watching the circle anymore. You are the circle, moving, resting, dissolving, becoming, alive. And maybe this is what eternity really means. Not endless time, but timeless presence. The awareness that even endings are holy, because they make room for beginnings to breathe. You smile again, that quiet smile, that no one teaches you, the kind that comes when you finally stop fighting what is. And as the last ember in the fire fades, you whisper into the rain, nothing is lost. Then silence. But this silence is different. It's not the absence of sound. It's the presence of everything. Every story, every soul, every echo of what it means to live and to love. folded softly inside it. You don't move. You don't need to, because the circle is complete.